All right, let's jump right into a topic that gets a lot of attention. We're going to tackle a question that's been debated for years, but this time we're pushing the opinions and anecdotes to the side to see what the actual numbers have to say.
So here it is, the big question. It's direct, it's loaded, and for a lot of people it's really personal. It touches on these huge ideas of loyalty, what success looks like, and community. But what's the real story? Once you get past all the noise.
I'm sure you've heard this one before, right? It's this powerful and really persistent idea that the moment a black man makes it, he leaves black women behind. This is the exact narrative we're going to put under the microscope today. So, where does an idea like this even come from? Well, a big part of it is what we see or what we think we see in the media. You see a few high-profile examples, maybe some famous athletes or rap stars, and that image gets stuck in our heads. It starts to feel like the rule, not the exception. Okay, but this is where we need to pump the brakes, because those celebrity stories, while they get all the headlines, don't really tell us about the millions of other people out there. To get the real picture, you got to look past the spotlight. You have to dig into the data, and that's exactly what we're about to do.
First things first, let's follow the money. It's one of the most common ways we measure success, right? So we're going to zero in on black men who earn $100,000 or more a year.
And listen, we're not just pulling numbers out of thin air here. This comes from some serious research. We're talking about an analysis of official U.S. Census data, done by respected researchers from two of the most prestigious HBCUs, Howard University and Morehouse College. They went straight to the source. So after all that digging, what did they find? They found this number, 83%. Just seeing it pop up like that, it already feels like it's pushing back against that common story. But what does it actually represent?
Here's what that 83% means. When you look at married black men making over $100,000 a year, the huge majority, we're talking nearly 5 out of every 6, are married to black women. That one statistic alone paints a dramatically different picture from the myth, doesn't it?
Okay, so income tells one part of the story. But what about another key measure of success? Education. Does getting a college degree change things for black men when it comes to marriage? Let's see if the pattern holds up. And boom, another big number, 85%. You can already start to see a trend forming here, can't you? It's so close to that first number we saw with the high earners.
And the data is just as clear-cut. If you take all the married black men who have a college degree, 85% of them are married to black women. The fact that this number is so consistent with the income data, well, it's pretty undeniable. The pattern is just getting clearer.
So now let's pull the camera all the way back. We've looked at high earners, we've looked at college grads. What happens when you just look at all married black men? No matter what their income or education level is, let's put all the pieces together.
This table just lays it all out so clearly. You can see the 83% for high earners and the 85% for college grads we just talked about. But then look at the bottom row, 88%. That means, across the board, almost 9 out of 10 married black men in the U.S. have black wives. The data couldn't be more consistent. So what do we do with all this? It kind of forces us to go back to that original story, that narrative that's so widespread, and really question it with this new evidence-based perspective.
Look, here's the bottom line. The data doesn't just poke a few holes in the popular myth, it pretty much flips it on its head. The whole idea that successful black men are overwhelmingly marrying outside their race is, when you look at the numbers, just not true.
So let's just recap, right? High earners, 83%. College grads, 85%. All married black men, 88%. The conclusion is the same every time. Those high-profile examples we see in the media, they're exactly that, outliers. They are the exception, not the rule. The data actually tells a much more powerful story about commitment and building within the black community.
And that kind of brings us to our final thought here. This whole explainer just goes to show how easily a story can take root and become common knowledge, even if the facts say something completely different. It really leaves us with a bigger question to think about. If the data tells such a different story on this topic, what other things that we all know to be true should we maybe start questioning? Thanks for tuning in.